That's my nickname
Emily.
that nobody uses.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to have you tell me your name.
Okay. I'm Emily, and I live in Seattle. I live in Ballard. I moved to Seattle in the beginning of 2012, and just was sick of LA, and saved up all my money, and knew a couple people up here, and it was like, I'm moving to Seattle. That place is awesome. And I didn't have a job or anything. I towed my letterpress behind my Honda. And got it up into my apartment. I was like, all right, I'm here. And got a part-time job, working with kids at an after-school program. And one day one of the kids had this like green shirt on. And someone was like, oh, cool jersey. I like Alonzo also, cool Sounders jersey. And I was like, who are the Sounders? What is this place? And my friend, my coworker, was like, oh, it's a soccer team up here. Like, it's really cool. So I was like, okay. I think I watched a couple of games on TV with him. And then where I work, they got a bunch of tickets. Like, they got a group, they're an affiliate, boys and girls. And so we got a bunch of tickets, and so I went to my first game. And I think it was versus the Union, but I don't remember barely anything about the game. I only remember getting there. We got there super early. We're up in the upper deck behind, south end, upper deck. And we get there and sit down. I'm like, there's streamers. There's stuff to do. And like ECS starts like flowing in with the flags, and they're singing, and like nothing is even happening. The players just started warming up. I was like, this is amazing. This is awesome. I'd worn like every blue and green thing I owned. So it started, and there was singing, and there were people like with their arms around each other, jumping up and down. And I was just thought, this is incredible. This is the best thing I've ever been a part of. So at halftime, I was like, I'll see you guys later. And I like sprinted out into the first little like stand thing I could find. And I got this jacket. I was just like, yeah, give me a large, it's fine. And I got whatever scarf they had, and I tailed it back to the seats. And that was it. I was like signed on. I was like, let's find out when I can go to another game. Bought some tickets, took my parents when they came up and visited. I made them sit down in GA because I was like, oh, that's the place. So my second game, we got to get tickets down there. So my parents are like almost 60. We're got spots in the back. And so they got their gear on, they got their food, and then all of a sudden the guy is like, all right, everybody, get to know your neighbor. And my dad looks at me like, what's happening? I was like, oh, you guys, this is good. This is going to be good. This is going okay.
This is great.
The day after a match, I have no voice. I'm super scratchy because I just scream and sing so loud that my voice will crack. Like as of halftime, I'm cracking mid-yell always. Sometimes on game days, like during work that day, like if I'm having a long conversation with somebody, they'll be like, we need to cut this off because I need to save my voice for later. So yeah, the next day is always very scratchy, usually on a really good kind of endorphin high, like I just ran a marathon where I really didn't accomplish anything, let's be honest. And probably spend a little too much time on Twitter, like waiting for the Sounder at Heart article to come out on the after match, whatever they do. It's always a really fun day. And what I really like about either that night when I'm on my way home or the next day is I'll get texts and calls from friends that I've met up here in Seattle since I've moved here that know I'm a Sounder supporter, and they'll want to, check in. Oh, did you see that? Like, oh, were you there? Oh. And so there's always kind of this check-in camaraderie. I called a friend on my way home from the match last night, really to tell her that I had gotten a new job and be like, oh yeah, let's celebrate with this. And she immediately was like, oh, did you see that? That free kick was amazing. And launched into this whole thing, talked about the game. And then after we talked for a few minutes, I was like, actually, I called you for a whole other reason. But I really liked that she fully assumed that I called her just to like rehash, what had gone on that day that we both were paying attention to. I have a different player every year that is my favorite player.
Fantastic.
Okay, yeah, 2016 has yet to be decided, especially since we haven't even played an MLS game. Let's go back. So 2012 was the first year I even moved here. So I wasn't all that, I still got the book when we walked in the door. I was like, yeah, I'm going to need that yearbook so I can compare faces to who's on the field. So that year, of course, the most noticeable was Ozzie Alonso. So of course he was my favorite. Also, he was like the first name of a sounder that I had ever heard in my life. So he was obviously my favorite. Second year, 2013. Second year as a supporter, Mauro Rosales. He was kicking ass that year. So he was really just fun to watch. He was really fast. And he always, as he went off the field, he always clapped at us. Like a lot of them do that. But he always just really made a show of it and, would put the captain's armband on Ozzie or whoever was passing it off to. So he was my favorite, 2013. Okay, so then we got 2014 was my first year as a season ticket holder. And that for me was the year of Oba. That was a very exciting year. Now, here's the thing though, 2014, we're doing really well, scoring a lot of goals. It's getting to the end of the season. What? Oh my gosh, we're like neck and neck with the LA Galaxy. This is insane. So I think you know where this is going. We're at that game. We have like the home and home, or the home, whatever it's called, with LA, there. And I had a bunch of people, and I have this tiny apartment in Ballard. I had a bunch of people in my apartment for the LA, like the second to last season, second to last game of the season. And I got a projector and projected the game like up on my wall. And I'm just like going insane. Like, oh my gosh, everything, is gonna get decided next week. And so that next week, I got my poncho. I got my friend who's coming to our first Sounders game ever. This is like an anti-soccer person that after the World Cup was like, I think I'm a soccer fan now. Let's do this. And so we got our ponchos because it started to pour down rain. And then Marco Papa just stole the show and the ball, if you guys remember. Stole the ball from Jaime Pinedo. And everyone just lost their shit. And I was like, all right, I'm ending this season with Marco Papa as my favorite player. I mean, come on. And then 2015, oh God, last year. I want to say last year Brad Evans was my favorite player because he had a tough beginning of the season. He switched positions back to center back and became probably like best 11 center back somehow because he has buddy, Chad. They're like such a team, law enforcement back there. And then he like switched back to midfield and then back to center back. So I would say Brad was last year, and then this year is to be determined. I don't know, I got number 13 out there. He's doing a good job so far.